Hello guys, you're welcome to my channel. So today I'll be exposing the pattern, how JAMB sets their questions, and I will also teach you on how to tackle any JAMB question. So these are the kind of question you should be expecting this year 2026. So if you're here, I will teach you on how to tackle all the question in just 30 or 60 seconds. So let's read the question we have on the board here. If 5x minus 3 is equal to 4x minus 7, what is the value? 6x. Okay, this is a linear equation. All right, JAMB sets such question to make students confused. And remember, this is CBT. When you sit on CBT, your mind is always cutting. Can I solve this question within 60 seconds? These are the kind of question you are asking yourself. So the kind of tension you are on it when you are into JAMB exam is different when you're writing an essay exam. So in solving JAMB CBT exam, you need to prepare very well. So in this video, I will handle all the difficulties that you find challenging when solving mathematics. So the question here says 5x minus 3 is equal to 4x minus 7. All right, what is the value? 6x. So if you look at the option given from JAMB, you have 24, you have 6, you have 4, and you have minus 24. So now maybe you can just solve this question here. At the end of the day, some people will just go ahead to choose either 6 or 4. So here in solving this, you need to keep some sign and everything at the back of your mind. This is a linear equation. So in solving linear equation, this is how you solve linear equation. We have, so any question you have, there must be a solution to it. So now let's write out the question. 5x minus 3 is equal to 4x minus 7. So this is a very straightforward equation. So in solving this kind of equation, there are a few things that you can keep at the back of your mind. Okay, here we have x, we have 4x, and we have 5x. So there is one thing I tell my students: when you have constant and you have variables, constants are numbers written without alphabet, while variables are numbers with an alphabet. So these are variables. 5x and 4x are variables. So separate variables one side and keep constants one side. With that, you should be able to handle everything with ease. All right, so here I will try to put, so I'll call the ones with alphabets, let me call them Nigerians, and I'll call the one without alphabet Ghana. So I will group Ghanans from their country, and I will group Nigerians from their country. So in grouping those people in their various destination, you don't need to have a specific place you will keep Nigerians or you keep Ghanaian people. The only thing is you keep the language which they speak. What is the language here I'm talking about? The language is the sign attached to those people. So here, if you look at it, you see that 3 have minus 3, and we have minus 7. So 5x and 4x are positive. So when trying to move somebody to a different, like now if you try to move a Nigerian person from Ghana back to Nigerian, if the person was speaking Ghanaian before, the person will now speak Nigerian language. Okay, so if let me put it in a mathematical way now. If in Nigeria now, if you want to move 7 is have minus sign. So if you want to take 7 to this other side of the equation, this minus sign will change to plus. But if here it was plus, it will change to minus. So let's start. So now say collecting like tens. So now I'll put the one with alphabet, which is the one with x one side. I'll put the one without x one side. I'll just decide any side. So I decide to keep the one with x, a number written with x for my left hand side. So I will now have 5x. So now I will move this 4x to come to my left hand side. It will cross this inequality sign, this equal sign here. This 4 will cross it, but it was having any number written without sign, it is having plus sign. All right, any number that is not having sign, which means it's positive, is plus. So since I'm moving 4x to cross this inequality sign, the sign will now change to minus 4x. I will now write my sign. I will take 3 to left hand side, but before that I will now write 7. Okay, I'll write 7 minus 7 because that is what from 7 was in the right hand side before. So I will now move this minus 3, but since it's having minus sign, this crossing this equality sign, it change to plus 3. Okay, so with this I will now have 5x minus 4x. That will give me x. It will give me 1x, but there is no need of saying 1x. 1x is the same thing as x. 1 Solomon is Solomon. Okay, 1 Prosper is Prosper. 1 Odue is Odue. All right, so you don't need to stress yourself saying 1 Odue. It's just Odue. All right, so I will now say equal to minus 7 plus 3. You know, in mathematics, if you have minus sign like this, that is, in mathematics, what is minus is what you don't have, is what belongs to somebody. So assuming you are owing somebody 7 properties and you own your own 3 properties, you are trying to balance that person, you will still be owing that person 4 properties. That is, this show that this does not belong to you, which is minus 7 is not yours, but 3 is yours. So when you have 3 and you are owing somebody 7, this will give you minus 4. Okay, so but you're not done. The now question now say, what is the value 6x? What is the value 6x? Which means since you now know the value of x, where you see x, you insert the value. Since x is equal to minus 4, wherever you see x, you can see write minus 4. They are the same thing. If I'm equal to you, which means you're equal to me, so the same thing. So where you see mean, you're going to write the same u. Okay, so here we now have that 6x, 6 bracket open minus 4, right? Because since x is equal to minus 4, and this will give me 6 times minus 4, that will give you minus 24. Okay, so looking at the option you have here, what is going to be the answer? D is your answer. So this is how to tackle such questions. Okay, so now we'll move to indices. Okay, so move to the next question, which is indices. So hold on, but if you have not subscribed to my channel and like and share, please do that now before we continue. One question you should be expecting is indices question like this. This is an initial question. You should be expecting simplify 27 raised to the power of n plus 1 times 9 raised to the power of minus 1 all over 81 raised to the power of n. And if you look at the option, you have 3 raised to the power of n, 3 raised to the power of n plus 1, 9 raised to the power of n, and 9 raised to the power of 9 raised to the power of n plus 1. If you look at it, this is just the same pattern. You can see that here to here is the same thing, here to here is the same thing, just addition of 1 attached to it. So when you look at those options, if you don't know how to solve it and trying to guess it, it will give you be difficult. So you try to know the question before trying to, because the way JAMB set their question is always the same pattern. So if you look at the option, what you're saying, the increment of this, increment of that. So let's solve this question together. Okay, so let's solve. So now you have 27 raised to the power of n plus 1 times 9 raised to the power of n minus 1 all over 81 raised to the power of n. So now, before you solve this kind of initial question, you also think of a common base of all those numbers you have here. So between 27, 9 and 81, the common base here that you will put this number that will give you the same answer is 3, because if I say 3 raised to the power of 3 is the same thing as 27, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So if I write 3 times 3 times 3 is the same thing as 3 raised to the power of 3. So it's the same thing as 27. I have not changed anything, okay? The same thing I will do for 9. 9 means 3 times 3, so it's the same thing as what? So, but that, since this is 27, okay, for 27 raised to the power of what? Raised to the power of n plus 1. The same thing multiplied by 9 is the same thing as 2 raised to the power of 2, but still this is 9, only this is 9. So 9 raised to the power of minus 1 all over 20. 81 means 3 raised to the power of 4, but still raised to the power of n. Okay, so with this, I will now apply the laws of indices here. When you're multiplying and the base are the same, add the powers. Okay, so since the base are 3 here, base here is 3, I will now go ahead to add my powers here. So I will now say this is 3, because I will use this 3 to open this bracket. 3 times n will give me let me first of all open this bracket. I will have 3 as base, then 3 times this, that will give me 3n plus 3 times the same thing I will do here, 2n minus 2, okay, all over 3 raised to the power of 4n. Okay, so with this, you know that, as I explained before, when the base are the same, add the powers. So I will now say that 3 raised to the power of 3n plus 3 plus 2n minus 2, because since the base here is the same, I will not keep the base and add my powers. Okay, so divided by 3 raised to the power of 4n. So guys, let's continue it here. Okay, so with that, you now have that if you add this 3n plus 2n, that will give me, I'll keep the common base, which is 5n. 3n plus 2n is 5n. 3 minus 2, that will give me 1 all over 3 raised to the power of 4n. Okay, the same thing. So here, this is the same. When the base are the same and you're dividing, let the power subtract. So here, if that is when you have b raised to the power of 2 all over b raised to the power of 3, this is the same thing as b 2 minus 3. So the same thing we are going to apply here. Okay, so the same thing I will apply here. So this I will keep 5n plus 1 minus 4n. So 5n minus 4n will give me 1n. So that will be 3n, then here plus what? So this is the answer. So looking at the answer here, if you check, B is the right option. So that is, so we are going to the next one, which is simultaneous equation. Okay, solve the following system of equation. So this is a simultaneous equation. You have 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. X minus y is equal to 1. So this is the option you have. So at the end of this question, you will know the right option. So let's solve it. Okay, so you have 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. I will name this equation 1. Now I have x minus y is equal to 1. I will name this equation 2. So when you have a simultaneous equation, there are many methods you can use to solve it. You can either use elimination method or you can use substitution method, so, or graphical method. But in this question, in this here, I will be using elimination method. or you can use substitution method. You see, if using substitution method here is more easier, but we use elimination method. So in using elimination method, you try to eliminate, as the name implies, try to do away with one variable, because you have two variables, so you cannot solve two variables at the same time. You eliminate, you key one of them. So I want to key x. So in trying to key one of the variable, you make their coefficient become the same. What is coefficient? Coefficient is a number that is written together with an alphabet. Here 2 is a coefficient of x. Here is 1 that is coefficient of x. So if you want to do away with x, you make sure that x has the same coefficients. So the highest coefficient here is 2. So how will I make this second equation to have a coefficient of x to carry the same coefficient of 2? That means I will multiply equation 1 with 1, because if I multiply 1 here, it will remain the same thing, and I will multiply equation 2 with 2. So with that, x will now carry coefficient of 2. So with that, let's say multiply equation 2 by 2. Okay, then that would be, so since equation 1 I have to keep it, I'll just bring it down. X 2x plus 3y is equal to 12. Let me name this equation 3. Then this one that I'm going to multiply 2 throughout, 2 times x, that will give me 2x. 2 times minus y, that will give me 2 minus 2y. And 2 times 1, that will give me 2. I will name this equation 4. Okay, so since x now have the same coefficient, I'll now say subtract equation 2 from equation 2 from equation 1. Okay, I'm going to subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So 2x minus 2x, that is 0, minus 2, sorry, 3. So 6, watch out, minus 3 minus 2y, 2 minus that will change to plus. So this is 5y. Okay, so that will give me 5y. That is minus 2 minus 3 will give me 5y. Then 2 minus 12 will give me 10. I will now divide both sides by 5. 5 cancel 5. Y is equal to 2. So since the value of y is 2, I will now put in the value of y in equation, let's put y in equation 4, or any, it could be equation 3. You can put it in equation 3, or you can put it in equation 4. For me, I'll put mine in equation 4. Reason is because this one has bigger values, 2, 3, 12. This one is more simpler, 2, 2, 2. So it's more simpler for me to simplify it easily. So I will now put it in equation 4 to make it everything easy, So I will now have 2x minus 2. So where I see y, I will write 2 instead of y. I'll write 2. Then it's equal to 2. Okay, so 2x minus 2 times 2 give me minus 4 is equal to 2. So I will now take variables. I'll keep variables one side, constant one side. 4 is a constant, 2 is a constant, so I'll put it the right hand side. I'll now have 2x is equal to 2. So when this minus 4 crossing this equality sign will change to plus 4. So we now have 2x is equal to 2 plus 4 is 6. Divide both sides by 2. 2 cancel 2. X is equal to 3. So therefore x is equal to 3, y is equal to 2. So what is the right option here? I think the right option is D. Okay, D is the right option. But if you don't take your time to look at it, we just misplace it. See, x is 2, x is y is similar as, so you will just misplace it. But you look at it carefully and you solve it carefully, you will arrive at the right answer. So let's move to percentage as the next topic you'll be targeting. So now this is a kind of practical question now. Percentage error, that is measurements. You measure something. Okay, this, as you have this marker here, it has an actual length, but somebody can decide to measure this to give you another length of this marker. So that is what we are going to calculate, the error which the person make while measuring this marker. So we have this question: a student measures the volume of a cube as 65 centimeter cube, but the actual volume is 64 centimeter cube. What is the percentage error in the student's measurements? Something is manufactured to be 64, but another person measure it to be 65. That is one cn error. Okay, so now the question say you should find the percentage. You should find a percentage. And what is percentage? Percentage means something divided by what? By 100. Something you have over 100. That is what percentage is all about. Okay, so let's see what you have. So this is the formula for solving percentage error. You have estimated value minus actual value divided by actual. That is, estimated means the one you measure using your own hand, minus the one the manufacturer did before, the actual measurements they manufacture that thing, and the one you as a student measure. So here you find the estimated value minus the actual all over the actual measurements, then you multiply everything by 100. Okay, that will give you in percent. All right, so now let's uh, no, so from the question, say a student measures the volume of a cube as 65. So estimated value is equal to 65 centimeter cube, while actual value is equal to 64 centimeter cube. From the question, see it here, the actual volume is 64 centimeter cube. So plugging back from the formula, we have 65 minus 64 all over 64 times 100. Okay, this here I will say 65 minus, that will give me 1 all over 64 times 100. So if you do everything here, okay, if you do everything here correctly, you're going to have 1 times 100, the same thing as what? The same thing as 100 all over 64. Okay, so here if you divide, that you are going to have 1.56%. Okay, you're going to include the percent. So looking at this, what is the answer here? This is the answer, but you will discover that what Jan is doing here is interval of 0.02. You see here, see 1.45, 1.56, 1.58, and 1.6. So while looking at it, you'll be seeing everything closer, closer. So that is how JAMB sets their question. So last but not the least, we'll be looking at quadratic equation as our last topic in this section. Okay, part 1. So now the last on the list is a quadratic equation. This is what we have here. Say solve the equation x squared minus 3x is x squared minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. So this is a typical example of quadratic equation. How do I know that it's quadratic? The power that x is carrying here, the variable is carrying power of 2. So any quadratic equation has a power of 2. Anyone that is above 2 is no longer quadratic, it's polynomial. Anyone with less than 2 is a linear equation. So here we have a minus 2 or minus 5, b minus 3 or minus 10, c 5 or minus 2, d 2 or 5. So let's solve the question to see the right option. So assuming you don't know, you are into the exam hall, you have this, and you don't know which one are you going to guess, which one are you going to guess as your own answer. So let's not guess the answer, let's solve it. Okay, so we have x squared minus 3x minus 10 is equal to 0. So like as I explained before in a simultaneous equation, in a quadratic equation too, we have different method of handling quadratic equation. You can decide to use graphical method, you can decide to use completing square method, you can decide to use factorization, you can use almighty formula. So there are various ways of solving quadratic equation, but I will advise that any quadratic equation that you feel that is too difficult for you to factorize, don't waste your time, just go straight to use formula method. If you use formula method, you get the right answer at short period of time. Okay, but if you know that is the question you can factorize, I think factorization is the best, but there's not every question you can factorize. So once you notice that this question is not factorizable, just use formula method in order not to be confused. So let's use see if we can factorize this question. If we can't, we'll now use formula, or I think we can factorize. Think of two possible numbers that when you add, you are going to have minus 3, or when you multiply, you're going to have minus 10. These two possible numbers are minus 5 and what? Plus 2. Minus 5 plus 2 is what? Is minus 3. So we have this. We're going to have the middle 10. Okay, then minus 5 times 2 is going to give us the last 10. Perfectly, that is how to factorize. Okay, so you think of two possible numbers that when you add, you're going to have the middle 10, and when you multiply, you're going to have the last 10. So these two possible numbers here is minus 5 and 2. Okay, so since we know that is minus 5 and plus 2, we are going to put it back in this equation here. So putting it back, we have x squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 is equal to 0. What is happening in the middle here means minus 3x, because minus 5x plus 2x is minus 3x. So we have not changed anything. So after then, you're going to insert your brackets. After doing that, insert the brackets. Okay, so after inserting the brackets, you look at the two possible values, two or the highest factor in each of the brackets. That is, here I will look at the highest common factor. Here I will look at the highest common factor in the second bracket. So in the first bracket here, the highest common factor is x. Okay, the highest common factor is that factor that is the greatest factor among the factors of two or more numbers. So here is only x that will come here and here without remainder. So x into 2 into x squared will give us x. 5x divided by x will give us minus 5. So here the highest common factor is plus 2. I'll bring it out. So 2 divided by 2x, that will give me x, and 2 into minus 10, that will give me 5. Minus 5 equal to 0. So with this, since when you are factorizing, make sure that the two brackets are the same. Minus 5x, x minus 5, and x minus 5, the same thing. With that, you know that you are on the right track. But since the two brackets are not the same, you are wrong. So you will need to go back and change those two possible numbers you will use initially. So here we are right because the two brackets are the same. So since the two brackets are the same, I will insert a bigger bracket. So I will now see that x minus 5 and x minus 5 is common. I will bring it out as okay. Then I will now take x and plus 2 to form the second bracket. Okay, this is equal to 0. So either x minus 5 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. What is telling us here is that you are multiplying two factors and it's giving you 0, which means either the first factor is equal to 0 or the second factor is equal to 0. Assuming you are multiplying 5 times 2 is equal to 0, which means one of these is 0. Is either 5 is equal to 0 or 2 is equal to 0 that give you that 0. So with this, I will now say that here, which means x is equal to positive 5 or x is equal to minus 2. Okay, so these are the answers. So x is either 5 or minus 2. So looking at the option, where do you see the answer? This is the answer, minus 2. No, this is not the answer. This is the answer. C is the right option, 5 or minus 2. So guys, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please turn on the notification bell and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to share, comment, so that it reach many people. Thank you for always watching my contents. See you in the next video. Bye.